Good morning students, welcome to the next lecture of electronic measurements and instrumentation. Today we will discuss vertical amplifiers and horizontal deflection systems of CRO. In the previous class we have discussed cathode ray tube, the importance of cathode ray tube in the CRO, and we have seen the block diagram of oscilloscopes in the previous classes. In this class we will see the importance of vertical amplifier and horizontal deflection system of the CRO. Okay, so these are the two topics we will see in this video lecture. Now coming to that vertical amplifier, what we are going to measure with the help of vertical amplifier? The sensitivity, that is nothing but as gain, and frequency bandwidth response characteristics of the oscilloscope are mainly determined by the vertical amplifier. The sensitivity, it is nothing but as gain, and frequency bandwidth response characteristics of the oscilloscopes are mainly determined by the help of vertical amplifier, where the gain and bandwidth product is always constant. The gain and bandwidth product is always constant. For example, if you require high sensitivity, then you have to reduce the bandwidth. If you require high bandwidth, then you reduce the gain. To obtain a greater sensitivity, that is gain, the bandwidth is narrowed, and vice versa. That is, if you require high bandwidth, then you have to reduce the gain. So this is the gain bandwidth product. Let us see the block diagram. Let us see the block diagram of the vertical amplifier, right? So in this vertical amplifier, we have the first section is input attenuator, the second section is FET input amplifier, the third section is main amplifier, and finally we have connected to the vertical deflection plates. Here we have connected to the vertical deflection plates. So see here, FET input amplifier, main amplifier, and the CRO vertical deflection plates. So this is the total connectivity. Here we have used one amplifier. So this is the first amplifier and this is the second amplifier. Two amplifiers we have used in the FET input amplifier section. Here we have two amplifier sections are available at the main amplifier side. Okay, here we have two amplifiers. The first one is this A we are represented here. The second one phase inverter we represented here. This is not an amplifier, this is an inverter circuit. And here we are using as a driver amplifier. And here we have one more output amplifier. Now from the output amplifier we have connected to the horizontal deflection plates. So these are the connections. And this is the first section, that is input FET input amplifier, and this is the main amplifier section. Right. Now what is the operation of FET input amplifier, the main purpose of this one, and main amplifier purpose, that we will see the next slide. Okay, and this is the input attenuator circuit. Right. So the same diagram I have mentioned here. This is the first part, second part, and third part. These are the three parts. Let us see. The vertical amplifier consists of several stages with fixed overall sensitivity or gain expressed in volts per division. Generally, the gain of the CRO we can see with the help of volts per division now. So the total gain we are expressing with the representation of volts per division, that is we know. And the vertical amplifier is consisting of three stages. First stage is input attenuator, second stage FET input amplifier, third stage main amplifier. And now coming to that, not only these three stages, with a fixed overall sensitivity or gain, we are fixing some gain, right? With that gain, we are expressing that gain in volts per division. So this is the first point. And next coming to the second point, the advantages of fixed gain. Here I said that we are using fixed gain circuit. What is the purpose of fixed gain? The advantages of fixed gain is that the amplifier can be more easily designed to meet. The advantage of fixed gain is that the amplifier can be more easily designed to meet requirements of stability and bandwidth. Here stability and bandwidth are the very important parameters. So when we will take the stability and bandwidth parameters, whenever the designed circuit is fixed, the design circuit has a fixed gain, then the bandwidth and stability will get with more clarity. So for that reason, for getting the importance of the fixed gain, the importance of the fixed gain parameter, the importance of the fixed gain is that an amplifier can be more easily designed. We can design easily the circuit, but with more easily we can design the circuits and we can design the best the parameters of stability, bandwidth with more clarity, with more precision, with more accurately. That is the purpose of fixed gain. Next, the vertical amplifier is kept within a signal handling capability by proper selection of input attenuator switch. So here whatever the input switch we are keeping here, the input attenuator switch, if you select the proper proper input signal, proper input attenuation, that is if you kept 10 dB, if you kept 20 dB, if you kept 40 dB, then you can get the required amplitude signal. So for example, if you are keeping your signal amplitude is 50 millivolts, then you have to use 40 dB switch in your CRO. If you are selecting 20 dB or 10 dB, the minimum voltage you will get nearly 70 millivolts to 100 millivolts. If you not selected any attenuator, then your signal input voltage minimum may be 1 volt or 2 volt or 0.5 volts. Okay, so like that, if you select the best attenuation at the input side, you will get the required amplitude of your signal. So that is the very important one. So by using this input attenuator switch, we can select the amplitude of the input signal. That will be happened at this vertical amplifier. Next, the first element of the preamplifier is the input stage, often consisting of FET source follower with high input impedance isolates the amplifier from the attenuator. Here, the first element I said that FET input amplifier. What is the purpose of FET input amplifier? So generally at the input side, while using for FET, the uses of FET is for high input impedance. For getting the high input impedance, the FET transistor selection at the input side is the right choice. So we know that in the basic classes, in the VLSI subject, we have seen that the BJT and MOS transistors. For the MOS transistor, high input impedance we have. For the BJT transistors, we have low input impedance. So for getting high input impedance at the input amplifier side, I have used the FET configuration transistors. So that is the main purpose to select the FET transistors. The FET input stage is followed by a BJT emitter follower. This first input amplifier is followed with the help of BJT emitter follower circuit to match the medium impedance of FET output with the low impedance input of the phase inverter. Here we are using the BJT transistor for matching the medium level impedance which will be available at the FET output of the phase inverter with the low impedance input of the phase inverter. So here, whatever the low input voltages or high input voltages or low input impedances, high input impedances we are getting, those we will modify it moderately, and these from this phase inverter output, this information we can connect to the driving amplifier. So that is the major purpose of the FET amplifier and main amplifiers. Next, coming to here, this phase inverter provides two antiphase output signals which are required to operate push-pull output amplifier. So see here, the phase inverter has only one input here. The phase inverter has only one input here, but it is providing two outputs which will be used for the push-pull operations. The push-pull output stage delivers equal signal voltages of opposite polarities to vertical plates of the CRT. Here at the output stage here, at the output of the phase inverter, the two output signals are, the output of the phase inverter circuit is, we have two similar type of voltages but with two opposite polarities, those two outputs were giving to the vertical plates. Of the CRT. The advantages of push-pull operation in CRO is, first one, better hum voltage cancellation. So we have some hum noise in the generally all the signal generator circuits are in the signals. That hum voltage cancellation we can make from the source of the power supply. So that is the first advantage. Second advantage, even harmonic suppressions. We can reduce the harmonics in the given circuits. And third one, especially the large second harmonic is cancelled out. Generally, second generation harmonics we will get in the signals. That second generation harmonics we can cancel here. And next, last one, greater power output per tube is the result of even harmonic cancellation. Even if you reduce that harmonics also, you will get a greater output power to this circuit. So this is the total vertical amplifier operations. Okay, right. Next we will see horizontal deflection system. So up to now we have seen the vertical deflection system. Now we will see horizontal deflection system. So previously I said that vertical amplifier, that is a separate circuit. But I said that here horizontal deflection system. What is there in this horizontal deflection system? That is our main motto. So here, this horizontal deflection system is consists of a time-based generator and an output amplifier. It consisting of an output amplifier, that is the last stage, and we have a time-based generator or sweep signal generator circuit. These circuits are available in this horizontal deflection system. Now let us see what is the circuit diagram of a time-based generator or a sweep generator circuit and how the signal seems to be look like. So see here clearly, here we have the two diagrams. The first diagram is continuous sweep generator circuit and second one is the sawtooth output waveform which will be obtained from this circuit. So see here we have a UJT. We have a UJT transistor. Here we have RT transistor, CT transistor, and here are R2 and R1 resistances. Right. Now see here. This is a waveform. In this waveform we have x-axis. On the x-axis time is there. On the y-axis voltage is there. Here we have VBB, VP, VE min parameters. In the y direction we have VBB, VP, VE min parameters. On the x direction we have time parameter. So see here the sawtooth wave. Here continuously charging the charging curve and the discharging curves, two curves are available. This charging curve is representing the capacitor charging position and this down curve is representing the capacitor discharging position. The charging curve we are representing as TS, where TS is the sweep period and charging down. This is called retrace period. That is we are representing with TR. Here we have two periods. The first one is TS period, second one is TR period. Where TS period is nothing but as sweep period, where TR is nothing but as retrace period. So this is a sawtooth waveform. Now let us see how this sawtooth waveform is generating with the help of this continuous sweep circuit. Okay, right. Let us see. I have placed my circuit here and I have placed the output waveform here. So the first one, when the UJT is going to be on, when the UJT is not going to be on. So go to the before slide once. So here, if the UJT is in off position, the VBB So see here, the voltage VBB is passed through the RT and it charges the capacitor. Right. Here, see the circuit diagram. Here the voltage VBB is passed through the RT and charges the capacitor whenever the UJT transistor is in the off position. When the UJT transistor is in the on position, then the voltage which will be passed through this RT, that will be comes in this direction through R1 resistor and discharges through the R1 resistor. So this is the, whenever the UJT transistor on, then the voltage is discharged through in this position. The capacitor is discharged through in this direction. Whenever if UJT is in the off period, then the voltage comes in this direction and the capacitor is going to be charged here. So the capacitor is charged from VE min, that is minimum voltage at the emitters from this point to up to peak voltage. Up to peak voltage it is going to be charged. After reaching to here, the UJT is going to be on and it will start discharging. The capacitor is going to be discharging through the R1 resistor. The total voltage which will be available through the capacitor, it will be discharged in the R1 direction. Let us see the operation. The UJT is used to produce the sweep. Here in this circuit, the UJT transistor is used to produce the sweep. When the power is first applied to the UJT, whenever the first is applied, the UJT is going to be off position. The UJT is going to be off position. The UJT is going to be off position and the CT charges exponentially through RT and the CT is charging exponentially through RT. Then we will get this waveform. Then we will get this charging waveform. Next, the UJT emitter voltage VE rises towards VBB and when VE reaches the peak voltages to VP. So whenever this is in the capacitor in the charging position, at that time the VBB and when VE reaches the peak voltage to VP. So this VE minimum voltage is charges, the VE minimum voltage is charged to up to VP, peak voltage. So that is the first step. Next, coming to that second one. The emitter to base, that is base 1. The emitter to base 1 diode becomes forward bias. That is emitter to base. So here emitter to base, when it is going to be forwarded bias and the UJT is triggers on. So whenever this emitter to base diode is switched on, when the emitter to base 1 diode is going to be on, then the capacitor discharges rapidly. Then this capacitor, at this time, the capacitor is going to be discharged in this direction. The capacitor is going to be discharged in this direction. The emitter voltage VE reaches minimum value rapidly and the UJT is going to be off. Now, actually the voltage, we are at the position of the peak voltages. Now it is going to be discharged in this direction up to VE min voltage. Up to VE min voltage. Right? So then then in the next situation, the UJT is going to be off whenever it reaches the VE min voltages. Now the UJT is in the off position. So whenever the UJT is going to be come in the off position, then again the capacitor is going to be charging. So see here, so the capacitor is going to be charged here up to getting the peak voltages. Then UJT is going to be on. Then the discharge value, then the signal is going to be discharging. Then again the signal is going to be charged. Again the signal is going to be discharged. That is off position of the UJT transistor. This is the on position of the UJT transistor. Again off position of the UJT and again on position of the UJT. So this cycle is going to be repeat for a long time. So this is a sweep generator, sweep or time-based generator. To improve sweep linearity, two separate voltage supplies are used. One is low voltage supply. a low voltage supply for UJT and a high voltage supply for RT-CT circuit. Here we have two types of voltages for driving the UJT and for driving the RT-CT configuration. Two types of voltages. The first one, low voltage, it is used to drive the UJT, and high voltage, it is used to drive the RT and CT components. RT is used for continuous control frequency, continuously control the frequency within a range, and CT is varied are changed in steps for the range of changing. Here, how much voltage we require, how many steps we require, that is based on the CT position. That is based on the varying of the CT values. Here, these are the purpose of RT and CT values. They are sometimes called as this RT and CT. Sometimes they are called as timing resistor and timing capacitor respectively. Okay, these two are called timing resistors and timing capacitors sometimes. Okay, so this is about the sweep or time based generators. Okay, in the next class we will see triggered sweep CRO and triggered pulse CRO. These two courses we will see in the next class. Thank you.